Hey everybody, it's Highly an Alchemist, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Red. In the last episode, we didn't really do much, actually. We just went through some other sea routes, and we started doing this long training route from Lavender Town, and that was it, really. Well, we did encounter the other Snorlax, but that's all there is to it. Yeah, then, I guess you could say that, last episode was kind of filler, if you were to go by it. So, anyways, we're just continuing on with this route, and that's actually what this, what the entirety of this video is, and I'm probably not going to have much to say about it, as far as I'm aware, so, just like what the Super Gamer Brothers did, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys about my kind of Pokemon origins. I just tell you how I started playing the series when I was a kid, so... Anyways, so for one thing, I actually, I was still, like, very young, and, well... For one thing, I wasn't necessarily allowed to play video games, for some reason. I mean, I remember watching some parts of the anime when I was very little, but I couldn't quite, buy the games, because, well, you know... We, couldn't really afford all that. But not to mention, I was just really young. I mean, I was born in 1996, for one thing. But hey, at least it's better than just having to... Well, I mean, it's... At least I grew up in the 90s. It's still around the 90s, so... I guess there's that. But, yeah... I want to say that, like... A few years later, and that was actually around the time when Gen 3 was around, and that was also when a lot of this Pokemon craze died down. But like I did say early in this LP, I think I said it once. The very first Pokemon game I played was Yellow, and I actually remember, like, you know, I remember just having that little Pikachu follow me. But I did play Yellow for a bit, and It was actually when I was spending a few days at my grandparents' house. One of my neighbors let us borrow their Game Boy Color, and they had, along with it, they had Pokemon Yellow, like I just said, and there was also Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, which, by the way, that was the very first Mario game I played. So yeah, two of those games I was playing were the first games of the franchise. But then I had to get that Game Boy Color back to them, and so around the time when Diamond and Pearl came out, then I started playing, well, I did receive a Diamond version, but I didn't really get all that far because I was quite a newbie when it came to Pokemon, so yeah, I just didn't go that far. And then, one of my best friends, he let me borrow his copy of Fire Red version, and that was when I truly started my kind of Pokemon craze. Since then, I really fell in love with the series, so... Yeah, playing Fire Red version, that's actually kind of where I started getting my kind of nostalgia with it. That's really when I got so crazy for Pokemon, it's not even funny. I mean, I still have friends that still do play Pokemon, but it was like a drug. Oh yeah, by the way, I actually completely missed that trainer that was right over there. But I did manage to battle him again off-screen. Why did I say again? I never really battled that guy. That was incorrect. But yeah, I was like really crazy for Pokemon, and that was also why there were some other kids that actually bullied me for that. Well, of course, that was also when, like, there weren't that many Pokemon fans these days. But yeah, I was bullied for liking Pokemon. There's probably not much else to say about that. But, anyways, don't get me wrong, though. I mean, even though I got crazy for Pokemon from playing Fire Red version, I still did play the original Red and Blue. Because, another one of my friends actually let me borrow his copy of Blue version, so I played that. So at least I still played that game as a kid. And I was actually quite surprised, or I was quite shocked. Well, mainly the Pokemon sprites, how, I was like, what was wrong with them? Even my child self was kind of baffled about those Pokemon sprites. And of course, I did grow up with other Pokemon games, such as Gold and Silver. And yeah, at the time, Pokemon Gold and Silver, they were, I also did grow up with those games, and they were without a doubt my favorite games when I was a kid. I really love those games to death. I had my nostalgia for those games, for the most part. And yeah, that was a Farfetch. Just a regular normal flying type, not that much useful, I would say. I mean, I never really used it. Doesn't evolve either. And I kid you not, I actually used to think, when I was a kid, I used to think that Farfetch evolves into Doduo. Because Doduo and Dodrio are both normal flying types. And not to mention, Farfetch is listed next to Doduo in the National Pokédex. So I was convinced that they were part of the evolutionary line. And so, when Farfetch evolves, it grows another head. Yeah, I was a weird child back then. But then I was completely wrong, and that would have been really, really weird. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, I did have a lot of fun playing Gold and Silver as a kid. Well, I actually only played Gold version, though. Gold version was a game I played. But I really loved it to death as a kid. It was such a great time. You know. Seeing as how they're going to be released on the Virtual Console, it just feels so great reliving the memories. Although afterwards, like when Heart Gold and Soul Silver were announced, of course, I was excited for those games because I get to play, because those were the remakes of the games that were my favorites as a kid. And so when they came out, my nostalgia came back. They were a great return. It was such a great trip back in the Johto region. And, you know, just reliving all the memories. And, you know, since then, like, I still do enjoy Gold and Silver to this day, but if I were to relive the Johto experience, then I would definitely go for Heart Gold and Soul Silver because they're, like, tons better than the original version. So, like, I mean, at the time, it was also my most... They were my most favorite Pokemon games, well, at least before Gen 5 came out. Well, particularly Black and White 2, though. Because like I said before, currently Gen 5 is my absolute favorite Pokemon generation. But, anyways, from what I looked at the time here, the video's around, like, 12 minutes, and we're just about to reach 8 minutes. So I guess this is where my kind of Pokemon origin story ends. And that was the TM Rage. I think we've known about Rage already because a Pokemon that we battled was using it, and I was kind of explaining how broken it is in Gen 1. Alright, so this video here has a couple of Pokemon, well, one Pokemon we haven't seen. Well, that's Pidgeotto. We've already seen that Pidgeotto. But our second Pokemon's one we haven't seen yet. So, just wait till she sends it out. And that Pokemon is Wigglytuff, so, let's see if we go ahead and, switch out for a Mizu. Oh, God! Okay then, weird bunny with the, big eyes, could have possibly made it scarier than that. Oh God, no, that's not what I meant! No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything like that! No, 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 no! Anyways, so yeah, Wigglytuff, from what you can tell, it is the evolved form of Jigglypuff. It could be seen as a counterpart to, Clefable, you should say, because it does evolve from the Moonstone. But it's really not all that useful. I honestly wouldn't recommend it. Clefable is way better, though. It's basically like a weaker version of Clefable, essentially. So between Wigglytuff and Clefable, definitely go for the latter. And that is the reason why I wanted a Clefable on my team. Which, as you can see here, I was glad that I caught that Clefairy back in Mount Moon. Since it was very rare, but Clefable is a much better choice. I mean, in terms of like, you know, stats and not to mention its move pools. it is a great Pokemon to use, and I'm honestly, like, really glad to have that Clefable on my team. So, anyways, yeah, so we reach about 10 minutes into the video. We're just about getting close to back to Fuchsia City. But yeah, if you did take the other route, like, you know, that the cycling road, then the other side of Kanto is just completely optional. It's mainly for grinding, but it still is recommended for you to train in for leveling up your Pokemon. Because as far as I remember, at the very end of the game, like, the final, you know, the Pokemon League that we're going to be going to, it's going to be very tough, like, really, really challenging. So it's best that we get prepared for that. But along the way, we'll just, battle more trainers, and of course, pretty much all of them, I'll just, cut them all off. But yeah, I know you've already heard, like, back in the day, during my kind of a Pokemon craze, that I was bullied for liking Pokemon. I mean, it was, it's been a rather rough time for me. I mean, I know, there are actually a couple other YouTubers I know that had been bullied for liking Pokemon. I know that Tamashi Hiroka was bullied for that. I think from what she said, and I know from one of his vlogs, I know that Kerbifer, aka Chris Neosi, he was also bullied for liking Pokemon. So yeah, I totally feel them right here. I can dig there. So, anyways, here's another one of Professor Oak's aids. If you've caught at least 50 kinds of Pokemon, he will give you the Experience All. Now, what the Experience All does, well, it's only in Gen 1, of course. Starting with Gen 6, it plays like that again. Also, this is Articuno, by the way. Yeah, flying bird Pokemon that we were seeing through the binoculars, that is Articuno. That one trainer back there said that is one of the 3 Mirages. Well, the legendary birds. Yeah, those are legendary Pokemon. And yeah, we kind of got spoiled a bit there just seeing that Articuno, but we will get to that later on. Later on in this LP, we'll encounter Articuno. So, anyway, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say before. Oh yeah, the Experience All. Oh, okay, I totally forgot. I was thinking about how I was bullied for liking Pokemon, but then I remembered Experience All. So, anyway, if you have the Experience All, and as long as you have that in your item box, like, it just won't work if you just store it at the PC. But if you have it with you, after your Pokemon gains experience from defeating the opponent, then it'll gain the extra amount of experience, and that same number applies to the rest of your team, that even if they didn't battle, so they'll be gaining those amount of experience as well. Starting with Gen 2, then that machine gets changed into the Experience Share. And it actually becomes a hold item as well, because Gen 2 gives us the ability to have our Pokemon hold items. If your Pokemon holds the item, or one of your Pokemon holds the item, and if you don't have it battle, then it'll just your Pokemon that's battling its opponent, it'll take the half the experience that it would gain, and the other half, the Pokemon holding the EXP share, will be gaining that experience. However, starting with Gen 6, then essentially the Experience Share pretty much gets reverted back to the Experience All, because, like, your Pokemon that will be battling will just get the experience, but it just won't get the extra experience, because 50% of the XP for the rest of your team, then it'll just be getting that. And that's actually what got the Experience Share Gen 6 kind of broken, because I remember the first time I played Y, it actually made the game too easy. Because I remember when I did the second playthrough of that, and I had the Experience Share off, and it kind of made it a little more challenging, just a little bit. But yeah, they essentially made the Experience Share in Gen 6 pretty broken, and just, like, just way too easy. I just It even made the Elite Four, like, just... well, I mean, you get the picture, though. Essentially, all your Pokemon are just way too overpowered, and it essentially breaks the game. So that's pretty much all I have to say here. So, anyways, yeah, I guess I managed to make this commentary consistent by just going through this optional route, and that means in the next episode we are going through Progress Land. That's right. What kind of progress are we going to do? Well, let's just say we're going to be going to that one, well, I guess you could say dungeon, even though it doesn't seem like it. That's going to be pretty long, and so we're going to be ready for that. Yay! So, anyways, next time we'll be doing that. So, till then, see you guys later.